So this weekend, I'm attending Caffeine and Octane for the first time, which is quite a large car show here in the Georgia, Atlanta area. And it just so happens that this also is the weekend they're doing a Japanese classic focus to the event. And so I really wanted to get the engine bay looking nice and clean. I've had the outside of the car detailed. Of course, it's already dirty by now, so I'll have to give it another wash. I've had the interior of the car detailed, but I haven't done anything to the engine bay as of yet. And it's quite dirty. It has about 20 years of dirt and grime on it. So this is a good opportunity for me to clean the engine bay. Now, I can't remember the last time I did an engine bay detailing. It might have been when I had my Mirage back in the early 2000s. So it's gonna be really good to try to detail this engine. I've been watching quite a few videos online. I'll post some in the description below in case you're interested in watching some others. Chris Fix has a really great video on engine detailing. But I plan on detailing this engine and trying to get it as clean as I possibly can safely. Now, here are some of the things that I plan to use to do this job, and I'll kind of go through the tools and equipment I'm going to use. I'll tell you kind of what I feel is necessary and mandatory, and then what is probably just a little bit extra. So starting over here, I have this tub of towels, which are like cleaning wipes. And so I can use these to really scrub and get into some hard to reach areas and scrub with my hand. I have some trash bags as well that I'll use to cover some core areas to make sure that we don't get water into things like the alternator or try to avoid getting water into some of the wires. I have a set of microfiber cloths, which are good for cleaning off dirt and grime. I have brushes for agitating the dirt and the soap and the degreaser and really trying to scrub. I also have these wire brushes to get into hard to reach areas that I might not be able to reach. Some just gloves to protect my hands. This stuff's not really necessary. I have a mask and glasses. I have them in case dust starts to move around and get really all in the air to protect myself, my allergies, protect my eyes. It's never too bad to have a can of brake cleaner around. It evaporates really quick. You can pretty much use it everywhere. This is a set of plastic restorer. So there's not a lot of plastic bits in the engine, but where there are, I'll try to use this a little bit. This is engine degreaser. This is not good for paint. So you have to be very careful when using this, but I'm sure there's some grease and other things here that I probably will need to remove. Shop towels, can't go without them. And then a spray bottle. I have this filled with warm water right now, but I might fill it with some dish soap. And really, dish soap is probably the primary thing you need. So I'm just gonna see with the cleaning wipes and the engine degreaser if I really need dish soap. The one thing I do not plan on doing is using a hose anywhere near this engine. It's an old car. I just am very concerned about water getting into wires. Newer cars are much better covered up. And so I just plan on really using wipes and sprays and water in very precise areas and then wiping things down quickly. Another thing I'm using is this blower. So this is just really to blow off any water or residue and also blow out any dirt. And then under here, which I'll show you a picture of here, is just a shop vac. Now the first thing I really am gonna do is vacuum out the engine. Get as much dirt, dust, and grime loose and vacuumed up as possible, and that's gonna make the rest of this much easier. So I'll take some before and after shots, but that's pretty much what I plan on doing today, so let's get to it.
So as you can see, the engine bay was pretty filthy. Years of dust and grime had built up on almost every single surface, including the underneath side of the hood. I started by using the shop vac to vacuum the engine and remove as much loose debris and dust as I could.
One of the first things you're going to want to do is disconnect the battery. So I guess I should have put on here that you need a socket wrench or some kind of wrench to unscrew and disconnect the battery, but that's definitely one of the first things you're going to want to do. Now, I'd really like to clean the hood, and that's probably just better done by hosing it off. But as you can see, the heat shield here has seen better days. I have not been able to locate this piece. It is discontinued from Mitsubishi. You can see it's missing some clips here. So it's not in great shape, and I'm really nervous about getting it wet because I don't think it's going to last much more water. So I might not spend too much time on the hood. What I might try to do is clean over in these areas here, just with some spray. I don't want to use degreaser in there, so probably some soap and water or some warm water and maybe the tub of towels, and that's going to be it. Okay, I've been trying a few different things here in this corner area. This is where I'm getting started. So I've been using soapy water. I decided to actually put some soap in this and use some soapy water. I've gotten a jar as well just to wash the brushes in as I go along to clean off the soapy water. I'm also using the tub of towels. So I've used that to just wipe some things down. And I think it's a combination of everything right now. I'm not using the super clean just because these areas are painted, so I don't want to get anything here. I'll probably use the degreaser as I get into some of these engine components here. But I think what works really well is different size brushes in different areas. So for instance, like getting into here, let me see if I can get you some more light. Like you can see, it's just hard to get down into some of these crevices here. It's probably hard to see some of the things behind here, but this area here is just going to be tough. So the more I can do with water, I think the better it'll be. I don't really want to take off the air intake. As you can see, a lot of these hoses, they're super dry rotted now, and I'm just afraid to even touch them until I have replacements for some of them. So I think I'll just keep spraying soapy water in certain areas, using the brushes, and then trying to wipe it down as best as I can. Okay, so one of the things that I've been doing to help get and dry some of the tight areas, this was suggested by Chris Fix as well, is just putting the wire brush over the shop towel, the microfiber towel, and that allows you to kind of get into, hopefully you guys can see that, these tight areas here to dry off. So I think I'm done with this area up here. Once again, it's not going to be perfect. I'm not a professional detailer. The goal is starting in this small area and testing out the different products and just wiping things down was for me to really get an understanding of how I wanted to do this as I go throughout the engine. And I think I'm going to work kind of on this outside area all around first, and then I'll start to tackle some of this inside area. But I think that's where I'm going to start, kind of in this area, go down the front, go up that side, and then I'll tackle the big parts of the engine bay. Now, one thing I should do is I should have covered this airbox hole. If I was using a hose, this definitely would need to get covered. I probably will just shove something in there for now. One of the downsides of doing that is forgetting to take whatever it is out and it getting sucked up, but I'm not too concerned right now because I'm going to leave it like this, because number one, I have an airbox with a standard filter, so it's not going to get sucked into the engine, but the car would run terrible. I'm just going to leave it hanging out like this. I'm just using spray. Once again, one of the reasons I'm not using a hose is to try to prevent things like this. Okay, I've been doing this section of the engine bay, and it's a very tight space, so it's hard to get in there. One thing I was able to do is remove the coolant bottle. That has really opened up some space in here. So if you have areas of your engine bay where things can just slide off and you can remove them, it's really going to make it a lot easier for you to get in there and to clean. So that's what I did. So hopefully you have some things that can come out. Sometimes the washer fluid reservoir can come out as well, but the coolant for me was the easiest thing to remove. Okay, so I'm gonna get back there and cover the alternator up just as a precaution. I don't think this is necessary since we're not spraying any water or spraying a hose, but just in case, we'll cover it up. Okay, so I just decided to use the tub of towels and a shop towel and just kind of wipe down underneath the hood. Probably needs to be sprayed, but once again, like I said, I don't really want to get that wet. So that's what I'm going to do for now. Now let's get back to the engine bay. Okay, so we've made progress here. I've been out here for a few hours working at this, and things look a lot better than they did. It is a lot harder when you're not able to hose anything off, especially getting into some of these deep crevices. Once you've soaped it up and wiped it down, trying to dry it and get the dirt off can be a challenge. You can see in here I still have to go back and get some. The next thing I'm going to do is use the plastic restorer to work on some of these plastic parts to bring the shine back. All right, so I'm using Meguiar's Ultimate Black Plastic Restore, and I'm just going to put a small amount here on this towel, shop towel. I'm going to try to rub it into the top of the radiator shroud. Oh, I wonder if that was too much. I don't want to get it on the paint because it's for plastic only. So I'm just rubbing it into the radiator shroud here and seeing how it looks. Wipe it off any of the paint. So you can see this is the plastic here where I've rubbed it onto it, and then this is where it hasn't yet been rubbed on. So looks like it's gonna shine the plastic bits up real nice. Well, I think I'm gonna call it here. I've probably been out here for 4 hours-ish working on this. It's been a lot of work. Now, of course, anytime you're filming or recording something, it's gonna take twice as long because you have to stop and reposition cameras and lighting and all of that jazz. But yeah, I think I can tell a difference. It probably will be easier for me to tell a difference when I look at the before and after pictures. But standing here, it looks like that's a lot of work, and I still don't necessarily see all the results I would hope for. But hopefully the before and after show all the work that I put into it. There's still definitely a bunch of stuff. If I could do this again, I think one of the things I would do is probably take off some of the intake and hoses to just create some space in the engine bay. This is a really congested engine bay. As you can see, so many wires, so many hoses, so many clips, so many clamps. And it's just really hard, especially with my hands, to get into some of these crevices. So yeah, let's see some before and after shots and see how it turned out.
While in the moment it was hard to see how much progress had been made, looking at the before and afters, it was clear to see the difference. Not to get too philosophical, but cleaning the engine bay was almost a microcosm of life. Sometimes the change can be really hard to see unless you take a step back and look at where you came from. I hope you all enjoyed the video and learned a little bit along the way. If you did, please leave a like, consider subscribing, and most importantly, leave a comment. Interacting with the community is the best part of doing this, so let me know what you think or if you have any tips for how I can do this better the next time. All right, thanks. Bye.